Hey guys, today we're going to be looking at how to multiply mixed numbers using an area model. So from elementary, you guys have been using area models to multiply whole numbers, and we can do the same thing when we look at fractions and decimals. So I'm going to draw a box that will represent the area model that I'm going to use. And up at the top of my box right here, I'll put my first factor, which is 2 3/4. But I'm going to decompose it into the whole number and the additional part. So I have 2 3/4 on this side of the area model. And on the other side, I'll have my second factor, which is 2/4. Because I don't have a whole number part, I can just put that on the first row. And I know that 2/4 is equivalent to 1/2, so I can just put 1/2 right here. So I will not need these bottom boxes. Well, in this first box right here, I find that product by multiplying 2 times 1/2. And I know that 2 groups of 1/2 is just 1 whole. Then for the next box, I will get the product, or the partial product, by multiplying 1/2 times 3/4. And we talked last intervention about when we multiply fractions times fractions, how it's just numerator times numerator and denominator times denominator. So 1/2 times 3/4, and that just gives me 3/8. And then to get my total product of 2 3/4 times 2/4, all I have to do is now find the sum of all the partial products. So that would be 1 plus 3/8, which will equal 1 3/8. So that tells me that 2 3/4 times 2/4 is equal to 1 3/8. All right, let's look at one more problem. So now we have 3 2/4 times 2 1/3. Well, when I look at 3 2/4, I know that 2/4 is the same as 1/2. So I can rewrite this as 3 1/2 times 2 1/3. And now I see that both of my factors have a whole number and a part. So I will decompose the first one into 3 with the extra 1/2. And the second will be decomposed into 2 with the extra 1/3. And that is how I can use it to build my area model. So my first factor, my one that broke into 3 with 1/2, will be labeled on the top. My second factor, which is 2 1/3, will be labeled on the side. And again, to find the partial products on the inside, right here, it's almost like a multiplication table. So I get that from doing 2 times 3, which I know is 6. And then my next partial product, I get from doing the 2 again, times the 1/2 now. And 2 groups of 1/2 is just 1 whole. And then this next one, so now I'm multiplying the 1/3 times the 3 wholes. And I know that 1/3 of 3, or 3 groups of 1/3, is just 1 whole. And then my last partial product comes from multiplying 1/3 times 1/2. And again, when we multiply fractions times fractions, that's just our numerator times our numerator. So 1 times 1 will give me 1 in the numerator. And then denominator times denominator, or 3 times 2, will give me 6 in my denominator. So I have all of my partial products. So what I need to do now is add all of these pieces up. So I have 6 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1/6 which makes 8 and 1/6. So this tells me that 3 and 2/4 times 2 and 1/3 will equal 8 and 1/6. All right, guys, that's all we got today. Thank you.